Hi, friends, and welcome to episode 5 of Mynock Mysteries. So today's apparently the week where we wear hoodies in honor of Force users. I think Palomi's light side with her gray one, and I'm dark side with mine, which I feel is actually a pretty good representation of how our characters get along, being on the opposite side of a lot of issues. So
True.
Anyways, we hope you are all as hyped for today's show as we are. If you didn't tune in last week, our group is in the process of infiltrating a shipping company operated by Black Sun, which is owned by Shizor, which is particularly exciting for me because Shizor was a character in what I believe is one of the best Star Wars novels of all time, Shadows of the Empire. And if you haven't read it, you definitely should. But yeah, how hype are you guys? Hype-oo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hyped.
Okay.
I'm hyped to have you guys face off against this adversary.
Yeah. So today's also very exciting because it may mark the last episode of our Edge of the Empire arc before moving into Age of Rebellion, which I guess is also kind of sad because it will mean a hiatus for our characters, which we've grown to love. I've kind of grown to love some of your characters, but it'll be fun. And if you haven't joined us before, Mynock Mysteries is a show where we are featuring the Fantasy Flight Games Star Wars role-playing systems. So thus far, we've been playing Edge of the Empire, and next up, we're going to be moving into Age of Rebellion, followed by Force and Destiny. And after we cover all 3 of the arcs, we'll be looking for you guys, the viewers, to help us decide which type of story you would like to see us run moving forward, and whether or not you have any favorite characters you would like to see return for a longer-term campaign. I think our 323 is probably going to be up there for some people because awesome. So we are super hyped to get started this week. So why don't we jump right into player and character introductions so we can get right back into our sticky situation with Black Sun. Why don't you go ahead, Stark?
Yeah, you mentioned me already. I'm Adam, or StarkSCII on all of the social medias, or R323, a highly modified Astromech that can't really be identified as an Astromech anymore. What did we do last time? We repainted me for most of the episode, so I resemble the Cheez-It Transit Company's logos.
Oh, it's not Cheez-It! You insult Shizor, my one and only Feline brother. Anyway.
And that's basically all we did. I tried to pickpocket something off of a guy on a noodle bar, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool.
All right.
Why don't you go, Palomi?
Hey everyone, I'm Palomi. I'm at PaulomiSP, and I recently had a lot of Padme feels on my Twitter, so let's you can look forward to that on my Twitter.
I saw a lot of Padme feels this week, especially.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've actually done anything, so I was just like, hey, you know what I need to do?
You promised the Padme feels, and you delivered.
There you go. I play Xanya. I'm a Togruta outlaw tech, so I chop shop all the things, including Stark, R323. And I think last time, we established that I am a terrible flirter, and I should not try to use flirting at all to distract anybody whatsoever. So that was a fun learning experience. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I can remember.
All right. I'm GameFaceKilla. I'm also Gabe. I am on social media and table flipping games on Misscliks, and I am playing Calum Lohgun, an ex-bounty hunter who is now a smuggler. And last time I helped would you say diffuse some situations that came up.
That the rest of us created, and you had to diffuse. Yeah,
if memory serves, it was
exciting. It was exciting. So that was a lot closer than I wanted to be to a bounty hunter, but we got out of the situation, and now we're in making the most of. We were trying to be a little slyer and steal the card to get into the building, but we ended up changing it into a kidnapping on the fly, and everything seems to be working out all right. I'm sure it's going to go wonderfully.
Of course, nothing ever goes wrong for us.
Yeah.
With that, I'm Tetsu, the one who everything seems to go wrong for. I'm the brass knuckle-wearing Zabrak enforcer, who also learned last week that she can't flirt. She rolled a despair on her flirt. So she actually rolled a lot of despairs last week. She also learned that she can't negotiate with some infamous bounty hunters, namely Bosk. So
You weren't negotiating, you were insulting.
Okay, listen. In Tetsu's mind, she was
Like,
negotiating.
negotiates in any amount of air quotes.
Yeah. Well, at least in that encounter, Tetsu did find out a little bit more about Calum's past and his ties to
That's true.
the guild. So she's gained a little bit more respect for him. And yeah, and as for Xanya, we avoided fighting last week, which was nice. So
That was nice, yeah.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
We
So
kind of commiserate on our lack of flirting skills, which is nice.
yeah, you know what? We bonded over that. We bonded
We
over
did.
noodles and lack of flirting. So
I mean, you know what? Sometimes it's all girls need, right?
there's a box of noodles. Anyway.
There you go.
So with that, I will turn things over to GM Throne Gauntlet. He can introduce himself and then we can dive right in.
Hello, I am Josh, aka Throne Gauntlet. I'm currently mentally in Korean time, so I apologize if I don't impart the same enthusiasm that I normally do.
No.
But yeah, so last session, there was a lot of stuff actually happened. Basically, the party has been hired to take down this Feline, or as you discovered, more like half Feline, half machine, named Zabrak. Valeria Zabrak, who has earned the nickname the Dragon of Feline. There were varying theories about why that is the case. So you're working for a Deveronian info chant, formerly a Black Sun, named Lokai, and he basically wants you to do two things. Make sure that Zabrak is no longer in control of Black Sun on Bespin, and plant some incriminating evidence that you guys retrieved from a mouse droid earlier in the adventure. That incriminating evidence, you have decided to work with a slicer known as Hawkbat, who is a Lannic, and you have decided to have him write a program for you that will quickly upload all the incriminating evidence to the mainframe of the Black Sun hideout, but you'll need physical access in order to do this. He told you it would take a day to do. You guys agreed on that, and also put up collateral that if you guys died, he could take your ship.
Oh yeah, we did that, didn't we?
If we died, I really don't care where our ship ends up. So it was a totally fair
Which
deal.
is sort of like incentivizing the wrong outcome, maybe. But he agreed that if you succeed, you'll introduce him to this business opportunity, which you guys have implied would be the new leader of Black Sun on Bespin. But he is working on that program. In the meantime, you guys decide to case the offices of Shizor Transport Systems, which I have put on the screen so that no one forgets.
I like how you put it under my picture.
Oh, of course. I mean, of course.
You're the one who needs the reminding, buddy.
So Shizor Transport Systems, again, like a lot of white marble, gold finishes, and an obvious front for Black Sun's operations here. No one seems to really care, and there's few patrons in the legitimate business side of things. Calum had an interesting conversation with the droid who advised him he'd have to fill out a number of forms. But you managed to case the joint and followed a couple of employees that were trying to get some noodles on lunch. The aforementioned debacle where someone tried to pickpocket, someone tried to flirt. None of this really worked. Guns were pulled. Noodles were not consumed. And now you have kidnapped these two employees and are in a dirty, like, essentially a motel room that you have hired. And you also bribed the desk guy not to say anything about what was going down. And he seemed very used to doing this, so it seems like you've come to the right place if you want to abduct / dispose of some employees. So you have their uniforms, and they also have access cards on their person. You do not have the program that Hawkbat promised you he would do because he said it would take a day. So at this point, you guys could wait until the next day. You could try and encourage Hawkbat to shift priorities to your project. But that's up to you guys as a group. The other thing that you guys did is you, right at the end of the session, we had you roll streetwise checks, see what you knew about Zabrak, and discover that he was on the planet Feline when an Imperial fleet sanitized a major city that was the site of a biological weapons laboratory, and the agent in question, the biological agent, had gotten free, and an unknown Imperial commander, you guys don't know who, but somebody ordered that the Star Destroyers in orbit around Feline should just sanitize the city, so they bombarded it with turbo lasers from orbit. Most people died. You believe that Zabrak is a survivor of that, and there's varying theories about how he survived. Some people say that half his body was blown away by a turbo laser blast, but somehow he managed to hold on. Other people say he was buried in rubble and spent weeks there before he was discovered. Seems equally crazy. But the end result is a lot of people think Zabrak can't die. And his, large parts of his body have been reconstructed with cybernetics. He has to breathe with a ventilator. A respirator over his face, like the bottom half of his face, basically. And you know that he has, extensive resources. Because you guys rolled a triumph, you know that he actually has to get his cybernetics tuned up every once in a while. And there's really only a couple of places in Cloud City that would have the sort of, if he's that heavily enhanced, there's only a couple of places that would probably have the necessary technical know-how to do that properly. And he's not likely to trust his body to just random cybernetics doctor. So that's another lead that you guys could try and follow.
So he had those procedures done here for sure?
It's not that they were done here. It's just that the cybernetics need to be constantly
maintained,
tuned up because because his body is
Gotcha.
about half cybernetic now. So he doesn't it's important for his body's proper functioning to have these things operating at peak efficiency because they represent such a big part of his physical form, I guess. So I guess.
So, oh, sorry, I was going to say. Yeah, before we decide where we're going to go, let's roll the crawl and we can jump right into how we're going to proceed.
Okay. Okay. I spelled Zarin wrong. For some reason I used a U. I think it was a typo.
You're excused. All right. Yeah, so I guess just as a group refresher, we have to do two things. We have to plant the incriminating evidence, and then we have to deal with our friend Zabrak, right?
Right.
Hopefully the information part before the Zabrak part.
And actually, Lokai told you guys that you can do those things. Oh, sorry, I guess my mic was low there. Zarin Lokai told you guys you can do those things around the same time if you want, but the evidence needs to be in the computers at the office before he dies. So if you guys go...
If he dies at all, we technically don't have to kill him. We just have to get him out of power, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, knowing our party, he's likely going to die. But I want to point out there, we could be the bigger people this time around and not kill him. But
yeah.
We'll leave that on the table.
But yeah, so he has to leave power. Basically, whatever you do, Lokai wants that information in the computers before he's removed from power, so he can use it as evidence to take over Black Sun. He can go look, I found this pattern. and he's got a whole plan behind the scenes that you guys aren't privy to. But if you don't get that data in the computers before he's removed from power, it's going to make that a lot harder, if not impossible. That was the only real guideline he gave you. You guys can throw this guy off Cloud City. Like he doesn't care how he leaves power, but that information needs to get into the computers at the time he's removed from power, at or before the time he's removed from power. And that was literally the only stipulation he had. He doesn't care what you do to Zabrak as long as he's gone. So
what time of day is it? Like, we took these guys from the noodle stand, the guys who worked at the transport shipping thing. How long has passed since we've tied them up and bribed the inn people?
I mean, assuming that you guys I actually don't know how long days are on Cloud City, nerd failure, but let's assume 24 hours. Let's assume it's about 1 p.m. because you guys waited until lunch for those guys to come out, and so you apprehend them, you get them into the motel, you shake them down, take their stuff. So it's about 1. It's about 1 p.m.
We still have half a day before Hawkbat comes back with the program to insert the incriminating information, right?
That's right. He said that he would need it until tomorrow. The other thing you guys found out about Zabrak that I didn't mention earlier is that you think that he spends his days in the office. So he's in there somewhere during the day, probably.
Okay. I don't know how you guys feel, but I was kind of thinking that going to see his tech medical person might be a good thing to start out with, so that we might know what kind of abilities he has or how to defeat him or things like that.
We're gonna leave these guys tied up?
Yeah, I mean, we bribed the innkeeper or whatever, right, to turn a blind eye and quiet ear to their screams, so I think we're okay with them in the closet. Unless you want to torch it once we leave, but
as befitting some accommodations of this type, the refresher, what is called that's what you call a washroom in Star Wars.
We give you your nerd card back after not
Thank
knowing
you.
the day.
I accept my nerd card back. It is very plain, very easy to clean, no surfaces that could become stained, and it actually seems to be pretty soundproof. So maybe not a bad spot to throw these guys, if you're just leaving them here. But yeah, you have bribed the guy at the front desk, and you're pretty sure that this is not the kind of place where other people staying would report noises like that. So, probably good.
So we can lock them in there?
Yeah, if that's what you want to do. I guess the bathroom shouldn't lock from the outside, but you guys could barricade the door,
move stuff.
Jam it.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
want.
we just move the bed and the dresser.
I say very loudly, as we're shutting the door, I say very loudly, yeah, we'll set up one of our portable turrets on the bed pointing at the door, and if the door opens, then...
Nice, I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
We'll be back for you guys, don't worry.
All of that was
Well
a
done.
lie, including the part about being back for them, I think.
I could try to charm them so that maybe they just know they're just going to have to sit tight. There's going to be new leadership by the end of the day, and they're not going to have to worry about getting in trouble because they said something earlier about getting in trouble with the boss.
Oh yeah, weren't we gonna offer them a position with new leadership? Wasn't that part of it? What we were doing?
Well, I
Yeah, we
just
could do that.
insulted them, so
We're
I
making
mean...
a lot of promises to a lot of people about
So
leadership.
he's going to be. We're doing all of his headhunting for him.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't really have a reputation for keeping my promises, so I'll just making them if they serve our purpose.
I bet I could talk the InfoChant into taking on these guys. At least
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of low life people, right? So
Mhm.
you could put them on sanitation duty.
Do you want to make a charm check for me,
Yeah.
Gabe? And just I have the difficulty set, but give yourself 2 boost dice, because they find your argument to be quite persuasive.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Okay.
Can you
But
switch to
apparently-
the dice rolling screen?
Oh, you need another boost
Let's go
die.
Let's go
Yeah.
Another boost die, right?
Yeah, just roll a single boost die.
Yeah, I did. Oh, just one?
Yeah, because you were supposed to have 2, but you only rolled 1 for some.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is weird. I had 2 in my pool, but let's see. Oops.
Oh, that's my fault. I'll just manually roll it here.
Okay.
1 blue.
Come on, success. Oh man.
Same dice.
Man, it's
So you
just,
have a
Success, right?
triumph.
that's 3 advantages.
A triumph is both a success and like a really great effect, but the success part of that triumph has been canceled.
Right.
So I think what I'm gonna do is, so you say like, you know, there's gonna be new leadership. You guys don't have to worry. They don't seem entirely convinced by that, but the younger one, because of the triumph, the younger one's like, are you getting rid of him today?
Or tomorrow.
Either one.
Get a nice night vacation before the new guy comes in power. You should enjoy it.
Oh yeah, nice vacation tied up in a bathtub with this guy. That's the older
You
one.
can
The
learn
older
a
one
lot
chimes
about
in.
each other.
I'm sure I'm gonna learn all sorts of things.
It's
the
a
older
team
one.
building exercise. The new leader will fully appreciate it, believe me.
Yeah.
The younger one starts, and he starts talking, and he's like, "Listen, like I can tell you where he is during the day. Like, I know exactly where he is. I know all about the security." And the older one's like, "Do you really trust that this group of yahoos is gonna kill Zarek?"
I unholster my flamethrower, and then use my flamethrower again.
Are they on the other side of the door with like the bed pushed up against
guys
it?
can
Like
say-
you can unholster it, but is he really gonna see it?
We're
You guys-
just all leaning like to the bathroom door, like, yeah,
You-
tell us more.
You guys
This is
can
like a
say,
really awkward picture in my mind. There's like 4 of us like up against the door with them in like a bathtub on the other side. This is
It's fine. Maybe there's like a little vent in the door or something. I don't
a
know.
little
There
thing.
you
Don't worry about it.
you guys can say you decided to do this before barricading them.
Okay,
That's
cool.
fine.
Yeah.
So
I show that I'm suitably equipped.
Yeah.
okay.
Look at how you will.
The older man looks confused that an Astromech has a flamethrower, so that seems to be the first thing that crosses his face. And then he says,
Yeah.
"Listen, heavy quad turbo lasers couldn't kill Zarek. I'm pretty sure that's not going to do the trick."
Wait, what
Do I
did
have another cat?
Eric?
Well, the guy
The
says
room
he
is
was
turbo
hit
lasers.
directly by a turbo laser and he survived. So I doubt very much that your flamethrower is going to do anything to him.
Who was hitting him with a turbo laser?
Death Stars, Star Destroyers.
Well, no, he
other-
was on the you know he was on the ground in Feline, and the Star Destroyers in orbit sterilized the city he was in. Like they just fired all their weapons at the city from orbit.
So this is probably just hearsay, right? I mean,
Yeah, it
It's
sounds
like
like
the
an
legend
urban.
of the fallen Feline or whatever.
yeah.
It sounds like very much like an urban myth. Like people kind of keep repeating it in the same way with that same tone of like this guy can't die and like it
Right.
Gotcha.
it has the hint of myth for sure.
I'm interested in the layout of like the place, like what information this younger guy has there.
The younger guy starts talking, and he's like, "Okay, so you want to go in the maintenance access? You're gonna go down an alley, get to the end of the alley, and then the older one just starts shouting over him, and he's like, "If you do this, you are dead. Zarek will never die, and he's coming for you next." And he just starts shouting at them, and it's like really hard to hear what's happening, basically, because the guy's trying to give you info, and he's like, the younger one's trying to think about it and like walk through, like, okay, like then you have to do this, and the older guy's just shouting.
I
Someone
sort of
needs to
nudge
push the other
Tetsu.
guy.
I nudge Tetsu. I sort of roll into her a bit.
Do the Tetsu thing.
Do the Tetsu thing.
Stun him. Stun him.
I
Yeah.
can set my blaster
I
rifle.
can, so my brass knuckles, I'm pretty sure, can like do
You
non-lethal
can choose.
damage.
You can choose to inflict strain.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose to inflict strain because I mean I am an enforcer. I tend not to like go full out tied up hit with brass knuckles because that's a little PTSD from my time with the Imperials. But I'm gonna try and get this guy to shut up so we can get the relevant information from the younger guy. So I will do my brass knuckle roll.
You don't have to roll. He's helpless. He's tied up.
Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna like.
It's not compelling to have you miss a tied up person. So
True.
I'm going to say that.
Yeah, I like swing and hit my face. No, I getcha.
You start softening him up, and he doesn't shut up. He just keeps screaming. So
Can I knock him out without killing
Yeah.
him? Okay, I want to do that.
Okay. So you knock him out, and he, by virtue of being unconscious, cannot continue talking.
Okay.
The younger one, though, like, looks at you guys watches you guys do this, and suddenly seems a lot more hesitant about talking.
In which case, I would like to roll an intimidate check, moving away from the charm, and being like, you really don't want to happen to you what I had to do for your friend. This is a good deal for you. You get a new place and new leadership. I don't kill you, and it's a win-win situation. So why don't you just keep talking?
I have the difficulty set. Give yourself a boost die because you just brutalized this friend in front
Okay,
of
cool.
In the bathtub as well.
In the bathtub.
I'm assuming they're both
yeah.
in the bathtub, just like, they're tied up. So
It's a great
Yeah.
message.
Yeah.
Why am I blind? Why don't I see intimidate on my sheet?
It's coercion.
That would be why. Sorry, guys, I play too much Pathfinder. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
He's like, okay.
Back to where you were.
Yeah. So he basically just gives you the layout of the place as he knows it. There are two main points to consider as he tells you about the layout. With what you have, with the security cards and the uniforms, he's pretty sure you shouldn't have any issue getting into the docking area of Shizor Transport Systems. That he doesn't anticipate that will be an issue. The good news that he tells you is that Zarek's office is actually not in the sublevels where the majority of Black Sun operations happen. So that's the good news. If you can get into the XTS docking levels, level 10 is where, adjacent to the hangar, this guy's office is. You don't even have to go through most of his goons to get to him, which is the good news.
Is it because he wants a view? Like he's not big on the subterranean office?
He doesn't know that. He doesn't know anything about Zarek's mindset specifically.
I was just wondering if it might be like a trap of, hey, look, I'm super open and that kind of thing, but really it's like the worst place to be.
It actually does have an exterior window, facing out into Bespin, so that might be why, but this guy doesn't really know that. He doesn't know this guy's mindset.
I have a longer term, exceptionally R323 plan.
Let's hear it.
So after we've planted the incriminating evidence and we need to kill the guy or remove the guy, if he is, for some reason, immortal or whatever the hell, we could have a Benny Hill chase through Cloud City, through the past the Triple B's place or what's left of it, down the hatch, over the hole where the gun was, into the room with all the explosives.
Oh boy.
Why would he chase us there?
That's a really good question.
It's a working plan, all right? Just go with it.
It's a really long way for him to chase us for no gain.
I have a question for this grunt. I want to know if he knows anything about... So Zarek's heavily mech'd out, right? So he needs tune-ups from time to time. I think we learned that last time.
Yeah, you need to know.
So
does we know who does it?
Yeah, do we know, first of all, who does it? And do we know if there's a specific schedule? Or if it's just whenever he needs it?
He doesn't know where he would... this guy is a low-level, docking employee who occasionally probably, runs packages. So this guy he is a criminal, but he's not, he's not, he's not Black Sun Elite. He doesn't know where this guy goes.
He downloaded something illegally once, that kind of criminal.
He can... Yeah. You wouldn't steal an airspeeder. You wouldn't steal an X-Wing. But yeah.
He downloaded one.
Yeah, he did. He downloaded a holovid one time.
Nice.
But, so he doesn't know, but he can tell you that Zarek comes in late on Fridays.
Okay.
So he believes that maybe that's when, but he
It's
doesn't...
What day of the week is it now?
Can we roll a D7?
Tomorrow is... Yeah, let's roll a D7.
Roll a d7. Oh,
That
gosh.
7 is good. I don't know. Like, I didn't expect you guys to wait till that day to kill him. Honestly. Oh.
Because I'm a mechanic. I know how to do these things. Oh gosh. Oh,
It's Tuesday. We ain't waiting.
lame. Well, we're not sure. We don't know how often he needs tune-ups.
Does he know where he lives? Like where he goes after work?
Has
he
he
has no
stalked
idea.
him?
Sorry?
No. I asked if he stalked him.
No.
Don't worry about it.
No.
I don't know. If he believes the dude is immortal, I feel like that would be enough reason to stalk someone to like
I think
the secret of immortality.
instead of rushing into this one, if we were to case the joint and bide our time and gather more information, that would probably be to our benefit.
I think we should go talk to his like mechanic or whatever
Yeah.
we want
Yeah.
to call that guy.
Yeah, or does he does he have several mechanics? Yeah.
I think we determined he only had one, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he was the one who did all the improvements.
I think the only thing we determined was that since he's heavily mech'd out, he needs tune-ups fairly often.
That's what you know. You don't know that there's only one guy. You don't know.
Yeah.
There's
Oh, I
only-
thought we knew who the guy
Specifics.
was.
There's only a few places on Cloud City that you think that there would be a person of sufficient technical aptitude to do something that.
Can I roll streetwise
Yeah.
and be like, I really need some
Yeah.
technical enhancements. Where should I go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can definitely do that.
Okay.
Is that okay? Actually, let me finish what I was saying. So you know what? The good news is you can get to this guy without going through a ton of security personnel. This guy will tell you that he'll tell you how to get to his office. He says like there's a waiting room. There's usually a couple guards in the waiting room, and then he himself is in the office beyond. So that's the good news. Like, you can get to this guy very easily. The bad news is that he's not convinced you can kill him, which your group may differ on, which is fine. And
Yeah.
also that if a protracted fight happens, there are hundreds of Black Sun personnel on the sub-levels of this structure who will make their way to you very quickly.
Okay.
And at that point, like, if an all-out fight happens and that gets heard, that's going to be a big problem. Like, the kind of problem where you will just... There's too many people, and you'll just eventually be overwhelmed.
Gotcha.
This guy does not work with the computer systems, so he does not know anything about, like, what would be the best way to put data in the system. Like, he doesn't know any of that.
Mhm.
I think we're pretty comfortable on the data front with
Yeah.
the Hawkbat.
Assuming he delivers.
Yeah,
I think all
assuming
that's
he doesn't
left
like
now-
put some sort of like subroutine being like, these are intruders, come and get them.
I think all that's
But-
left now is to actually case the joint.
Well, and figure out who his mechanic is.
If you
Right.
want to go that route, I mean, that's something.
I
you
think
can do.
I would like to go that route just because that we have the ability to, like, I specifically have the ability to maybe mess with his things to give us an advantage if we need it.
Yeah, so I can roll Streetwise, right? Can we go back to that now
Yep.
to find out? Do you have the difficulty set?
Do you have something that removes setback dice from Streetwise check?
I believe so. Let me pull up my talents. Yes, I do. Only one rank, so I only remove one setback.
There's only one.
Okay, so I will roll Streetwise. Okay.
So you ask around. There's a few cybernetics dealers on Cloud City, but a lot of them are exactly that, dealers. They can install, like, maybe simple cybernetics, but, like, the kinds of things that this person seems to have done to their body would be a bit beyond some of these people. I don't want to call them amateur surgeons, but, like, at a certain point when you're, like, in the criminal underworld, you can't always hope for the most accredited medical professional, and some of these people are essentially like street doctors that can, like, sell, acquire, and install the most basic cybernetics. But there's one person that your check reveals would be very likely to be this person's tune-up doctor. which is an Ithorian. For those of you who may not be familiar with them, they're like the hammer-headed aliens, and you see one of them in episode 4. This Ithorian has a shop in Port Town, and he is known to be very expensive. He sells most of his goods at sort of artisan level prices, and is a far cry from the street doctors that you think that most of the other vendors on Cloud City would be more akin to. So you think that that's probably a good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
His handle on the street is the Maker, but most people think that's probably just an alias and not his real name because it's not an Ithorian name. So, yeah. But you know how to get to this place if you want to go.
Can I run a streetwise and maybe just to be like, okay, let me see if I remember anything from Outlaw Tech magazine or something, where it's a cybernetics Outlaw Tech could be would be and have a name that would be called out to me. Sorry, that sentence was a train wreck from start to finish.
You got there in the end.
I did.
So just to clarify, are you trying to find out if you know who this Maker person is?
Yeah, basically trying to corroborate with my own knowledge, because I imagine I would at least be a little bit familiar with other technicians who work on under the table or kind of less than legal stuff like this.
I would say that may not generally be true, but somebody of this skill,
yeah,
it's possible you've heard of him. It's not probable, it is possible you've heard of him. So do you have something that removes setback dice from Streetwise check? I assume not.
I mean,
an Outlaw Tech.
Yeah, let's see.
It's just the Utini, isn't it?
Utini helps me with scavenging.
Yeah.
And then I speak binary.
That doesn't really help.
No. No, not really.
Okay. So yeah, I'll leave that on there. You can roll your Streetwise.
Streetwise. Oh boy, that didn't work.
Nope.
Okay.
You think you remember reading something or hearing something about him at some point, but you just don't recall what that was.
Cool.
But what you the fact that you recall the name seems to imply that this is probably the information that Tetsu revealed is probably legit.
Okay.
So, you just can't put any pieces together. You didn't even know he was an Ithorian. You were oh, the Maker, that sounds familiar. Oh, he's an Ithorian? Interesting.
Gotcha.
Or whatever. So.
Can I take Calum aside for a minute? As we're kind of talking about all of this, can I take him an aside for a one-on-one? Is that okay?
Gabe is flabbergasted.
Not that kind of 101, okay? Just a conversation.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Just because you haven't decided to tell the rest of the group yet with your ties to the Bounty Hunters Guild. So I'm doing you a solid here. I wanted to talk to you about a plan on kind of walking in to see the Maker and flashing your I'm part of the Bounty Hunters Guild badge or whatever you guys have, and saying that you are looking for enhancements and that you've heard through the guild that Zabrak has received certain type of enhancements and you wanted to know exactly what those were because you're interested in getting the same kind. And so maybe it's kind of he would start to divest because he's kind of proud of his work, right? I'm assuming this guy's kind of an artist of this is what I've created. And so you kind of being I feel like you might have the best chance of convincing him that you'd actually want that, being part of the Bounty Hunters Guild. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. I can do that.
You would have to tell the rest of the party, though, because if you're going to be talking about this, we're with you. So I don't know how comfortable you are talking
do they need to go into the place with me?
I guess not. I guess we could
just stay.
Stand guard outside. But we have to tell them why. I guess we could just say that this plan would work a lot better if it's not a group of 4 of us.
I mean, he's the talky one anyway.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm getting at. He's the talky one. He has probably the best credentials to want to be augmented.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a good plan, even though I'm not there.
Even though you don't know what it is.
Only thing about that plan is now you have to somehow tell Xanya that she can't go into the shop that specializes in technology that she could probably analyze better than any of you.
Yeah.
For a compelling reason.
Yeah.
What do you think? So, like, Calum and I are still kind of on the
Yeah,
side,
that's fine.
being like, how do you think we should tell the group that they're better served, especially Xanya, since she's probably very curious on the type of tech he's working with? Or, I mean, you could maybe take her in, although then you'd have to divest that you're with Bounty Hunter Guild. Because if you take her in, you could be like, I've been consulting with Xanya on these certain types of things, and she recommended you, but Xanya and him don't know each other either, so.
I don't know. I'm trying to think if... I guess I could say that, I mean, I don't mind telling them that I'm a part of the Bounty Hunters Guild, or I'm going to say that, and that for me to pull that off, I need to be the only one that goes in.
Yeah, I guess you could just say that you're going to lie about it.
Yeah. I'll pretend to be a bounty hunter who... or I'm going to say that, well, I mean, as far as everyone knows, I am a bounty hunter, so I'll say I'm a bounty hunter, I'm going in for upgrades, and it's only going to work if I'm kind of by myself, because we tend to be lone wolves.
And I'll remind Xanya of our failed flirtation attempts and charm attempts and things like that, being like, I think it's really best if we let Calum go in. If it gets to the point where we get the information and you want to go in afterwards to, like, look around his shop and see what he has going on, that's cool, but we should probably do what's best to get the information. Kind of thing.
It is, I mean...
Yeah, sounds good.
Since he is kind of my kind of ilk, I feel like I might be able to talk to him a little bit better than anyone else, too, though.
The problem is I kind of see him as, if he's kind of, like, renowned enough...
Why don't we find out what the type of person he is and not make assumptions on what type of person he is?
Well, the Streetwise check said that he was renowned, right?
He's the most renowned on Cloud.
He's the most renowned.
That doesn't mean he has, like, an ego and wants it stroked.
I'm just worried if we're going in with 4 people and we're like, give us...
I'm not going in, so...
Well, what if it was...
I already have my...
I go in with Calum as somebody who's going to be his assistant, who's going to help him with these calibrations, so I need to oversee...
It's totally up to Calum on whether or not he's willing to show his bounty hunter card in front of you. Like,
yeah, I mean, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Because everybody thinks I have one anyway. So...
Okay. You'll just... Yeah, okay. That's fine.
You're the only person who knows that I'm lying.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. So, do we know where this guy's shop is?
Yeah, you can look at it. Fine.
So our 323 and I will stand outside the door, kind of inconspicuous, and let the other 2 go in.
So as you approach this building, it's a very nondescript storefront. It looks like you see just sort of like hints of things on it. It almost looks like it might have at one time, just from the detail in the exterior and stuff, like there's little touches in the stonework. It looks like this actually might have been like a flower shop or a plant shop or something at one time, but it certainly is not now. As you open the door and go in, you see an Ithorian that's bent over what appears to be a cybernetic arm, sized for probably like a human, like a fully grown human, and he's like looking at it through a magnifying device and slowly sort of touching it up. This shop is poorly lit. Most of the lighting comes from below near the walls, and it's pretty much what you would expect. It's all very high quality cybernetics. There are a couple surprising things where you see in the corners and in various places around the store are what appear to be like potted plants, but they certainly are not plants. They're made with like pieces of leftover metal and whatnot, almost like tiny little unique art pieces that this person has made, and they're just on display around the shop. Basically, it looks like a couple of them are for sale actually and could be purchased, but some of them appear to be like permanent members of the collection of items here and are not for sale. The Ithorian hears you guys come in as you open the door, and he just says, and Ithorian throats are actually like not designed to speak common very well, so he kind of grunts one moment and he just continues working on what he's working on. you have a moment if you want to do something without him watching you. You have seconds to do so.
Can I go up to one of the plants or like metal plants and try to interact with it?
Yeah. What do you do to it?
I just kind of touch it really gingerly.
Okay. So you touch, like, you approach one of the plants, like a fern, kind of. Like, obviously these aren't real ferns, like, these aren't real plants, but it appears to be shaped kind of like a fern, and you kind of, like, touch it, and it's like fern frond, like, kind of, like, curls up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then it goes back down.
That's really cool.
It looks like this thing has a very primitive droid brain, probably, and that
Cool.
it's trained to react to very, like, simple phenomena and whatnot, but it's not like a sentient droid.
Cute
Cool.
droids. I'm afraid Xanya's gonna come out with her hands full of all these like little novel droids.
I have the credits.
This thing, like something like this is actually more like an art piece. Like, it's more like a piece of droid art, almost, if you will. And it actually is being sold for 3,000 credits, so it's quite expensive.
Okay.
For like just an art
For a
piece.
plant?
It's not even a real plant. Again, like it's made
Yeah.
out of parts.
But he probably did this by hand, which is, I mean, like, I can appreciate that.
And sort of as you look at the plant, you see the cost of it. You see these attached to some of them because they aren't for sale. It feels like maybe this person has some kind of weird backstory. Ithorians, as just without making a check, they actually live on a world where herd ships move over the surface of the planet so as to not disturb the ecosystem of the planet. And Ithorians are often gardeners, xenobiologists, like, they have an affinity to nature. For whatever reason, this Ithorian has chosen a different path, but has sort of retained some links to the traditional path of his people.
Okay, cool.
I guess I'll spend my time, like, maybe looking around, seeing if I can spot something useful for the conversation, or maybe something that has to do with our target. Or maybe where the computer filing system is, or something like that.
Yeah, you can make a perception check. Let me
Okay.
difficulty here. Okay, go for it. Okay. You're looking around at some of the items on display. A lot of them appear to just be high-quality cybernetic limbs. But then you come across one that has, in the wrist area, it has what appears to be a weapon mount for a light blaster. So, like, a weapon could be mounted inside this arm and fired independently of the hand. Like, it basically, the person just raises their arm and they can fire it. And so, knowing how dangerous this person is, that might be... I mean, you look at that and you're like, hearing about this person, this seems like the sort of thing they might have installed. So if you want an in a conversation, that might be one way.
Okay.
But it doesn't actually have the blaster in it. You just know, like, you can see it, you can see the power hookups and stuff, and you're, like, pretty sure it's designed for a weapon more than anything else.
Okay.
This guy isn't an arms dealer, so he wouldn't actually have the guns, but he can build you an arm that can mount one. So.
Okay.
Suppose he is an arms dealer then.
Of a kind, yeah.
Oh, he's not an arm. He's a literal arms dealer. Yes. That's right.
I could use a new arm. Carrying these brass knuckles around all the time gets pretty tiring.
Well, actually, in mechanical terms, just so you guys understand, if you get a cybernetic limb and it's of a high enough quality, it actually improves either your brawn or agility stats.
Nice.
Like, it actually makes you physically superior to your default biological form. So you could
Cool.
you could definitely use a pair of cybernetic arms if you wanted to beat people more thoroughly, but
The
they're
dreams
very
are-
expensive.
I make a mental note that after we get paid for this job, I'm going to revisit this guy.
I'm pretty sure that, like, one arm is, like, minimum 6,000 credits, if I remember correctly.
So
Oh,
I could just
10,000.
take our whole 1,000?
Yeah, 10.
Oh.
10,000.
Oh, 10,000. Okay, yeah, no arm for me.
That's for the kind of arm that would give you a stat bump. Like, you can get an arm that's just a replacement for an arm. Like, think like the hand that Luke gets at the end of Empire Strikes Back. That's just a hand replacement. It's like not better than an ordinary hand, for a lot cheaper than that. But that's not what this guy is selling. This guy is not selling that. He's selling the high quality hardware.
Okay. I'm gonna let Calum take the lead on this one, and I'll play backup.
Okay. So I'll wait till he's done, just to, not start things off on the wrong foot, and kind of oh, go ahead.
He's a little bit socially awkward, maybe, and takes about 30 seconds after you come in to be like, okay, sorry, how can I help you?
Oh no!
He's very into his work. You can tell that much.
I can appreciate that.
So I'll kind of apologize for bothering him and tell him that I won't need long, but I was here looking for because I'd heard from his reputation that he was the person to see if I was in need of any kind of cybernetic implants or modification upgrade, appendage upgrades, that kind of thing.
He seems pleased by that. That his reputation is that good, and he says, "Well, absolutely. If you need some systems installed, if you wish to further develop your biological form, I'd be happy to assist with that, assuming you have the credits available."
Yeah, credits aren't really going to be a problem, but
if only that were true.
Yeah, the type, and I guess extensive amount of implants that I could be looking for might be a problem.
Oh, are you afraid?
And I'm wondering if you're capable, I guess.
Oh, I assure you that I've worked with clients before who were in fact mostly mechanical, that had very little of their original biological structure left, and that hasn't proven to be an issue for me. I see the beauty in all life forms, those that are fully natural and those that have chosen to augment themselves, and I've never had an issue bringing that harmoniously together into one being. So I'm not sure that would ever be an issue for me.
Okay, I'd like to see an example of some of the extensive modifications that he's done on someone, if I could just see kind of an idea of what I want for myself.
I whispered into his ear because I'm assuming we have comms open, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to whisper. You don't have to I'm going to say don't respond to this, but be ask for a local example so that you could go meet him and check out the work he's done for yourself. Because I doubt there's many people locally that he's worked on, right?
Yeah. So I'll include that. I'll say maybe if there's someone I could see. Also, if there's someone I could talk to see with my own eyes what kind of work he could do.
As you say that, he starts kind of pacing back. He was in the middle of this shop working on an arm. And he starts pacing back towards the counter, and he says, of course, as a certified medical technician, I'm unable to divulge the confidential details of my patient's medical records. If you wish, I'd be more than happy to show you some of the systems I've installed, but certainly not point you to a specific individual whose secrecy might be compromised by such an act. Mm-hmm. And as he finishes that sentence, he is now fully behind the counter.
I want to see if I can tell what he's doing.
Yeah. I think you do.
Under the desk, I'm assuming,
or a hot button.
It's always a shotgun under the desk. Yeah. So let's give me a perception, and I am going to oppose with his.
Okay. Are you set?
Yeah, I'm good to go. Sorry.
Sorry. Oh.
So he seems earnest, I guess. You get the feeling he's a little bit offended, and you don't actually see what he's doing, He does have. He's sort of adopted a more casual pose. So he has his left hand on the counter, and his right hand is definitely under the counter. You can see that much.
Okay.
But, you don't think he's like threatened or he doesn't seem threatened. He's just,
I don't
casual.
know. Can I try to run probably a charm check and kind of be like, hey, wait, we just were really interested in your work. That's all. I mean, I'm a tech too, and I really appreciate the kind of work that you do. So I just kind of wanted to maybe learn from some of your actual clients to see how, like, I guess what you do that makes your work so good.
Okay.
Or yeah.
You can make that check. The difficulty's already set because I'll be opposed by his
Cool. Nope.
He look. I mean, I'm assuming you're carrying like you probably have gear, right? Like you have tools, don't you?
Me?
Right?
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't have.
Oh,
I don't have any tools.
He looks you up and down and says, I have spoken to many who wish to learn the art of augmentation. And in that time, I've learned that curiosity is in fact a boon. But in this case, I'm afraid I cannot make an exception and divulge the details of a client. If you'd like, I can show you an abstract example of one of the operations I've done. And he pulls out a data pad, and it looks like the subject, like there's no name, there's no indication of what race this person is, there's no indication of what the installed systems are. So this data is not very helpful.
Okay.
But you see that this person had, it looks like, about 6 cybernetic systems installed.
Okay. Gotcha.
So you don't know what they are. You don't even know if it's the same person that you're trying to find out about.
Can I ask him if there's any way that if this person is a different species than I am, if there's going to be any kind of problems, difficulties that might come up?
Question.
Yeah, he says, of course some species have more difficulty taking to the rigors of cybernetic enhancement. As a human, you are ideally suited to this process, and I can assure you that I would not place undue strain on your physical form with too many augmentations. Of course, I will advise you appropriately on the number of systems that you could have installed.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to say, oh, this looks really interesting. You think you can? Do you think this is the kind of augmentations that we're looking for? And I'll pass her the data pad.
Okay.
Hope kind of giving her this look like, you know what to do now. And then I'm going to try to distract him.
Okay. Got it. I do know what to do now.
Nice.
So
Hack.
yeah, definitely. So I think I'm going to run a computer's check to see if I can unredact any of this redacted information.
And I might try to call his attention to that blaster arm I saw.
Okay.
Yeah. Bring him back over.
I need a perception check from the people who are outside the store, please.
That's me.
That doesn't bode well for our friends inside. Okay.
Give me 1 sec before you roll it.
Oh, you're outside too? I thought you were inside.
No, both of them. I was talking to him through our comm link.
Oh, we got wrecked. All right, as you were.
I feel like we're just like getting super bored standing outside and
I'm just playing solitaire on my OS.
in your own brain. You're just
Yeah.
like,
Star Wars Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm polishing my brass knuckles, I guess. I don't know.
Cool.
I got pretty dirty after that meeting in the bathtub.
What's up with all these Zulocks on ladder? Yeah, so you guys are outside, having a good time, don't notice anything weird. Inside, are you hacking this data pad in this shop? Is that what's happening? I just want to be sure.
It sounds like it shouldn't be happening that way.
I'm distracting him though.
Calum is going to have to be pretty distracting.
Yeah, why don't... Okay, can we... How about this? How about Calum does like a charm check first to see how distracting this guy is, or distracted this guy is?
Yeah, I'll talk about how I can't believe how small these articulators are on this arm, and I have just never seen craftsmanship this fine before.
Nice. Okay, give yourself a boost die for that.
Nice.
Because you are playing to his fatal character flaw.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So give yourself boost die, but I have the difficulty for it.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Rip.
Oh,
Man, I
That's
can't.
nice knowing you.
Yeah.
oh boy.
With that advantage, give a boost die to Xanya.
Okay.
So what happens isn't so much that you successfully flatter him, but that your flattery is incredibly obvious to him, and he lets out a laugh, during which, and it's an Ithorian laugh, so it's not like a human laugh, so it's kind of like a it's quite loud. So you have this moment where if you have a second, like you could try and start hacking with that boost die, but yeah, like it's not a straight success, so it's still gonna be quite hard.
All right. So I'm gonna run my computers and then I'll roll my boost die. Whoa.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, I didn't have the diff. Sorry.
That's okay.
I need you to just, before you start hacking, so don't add any hacking stuff, I need you to make just a computers check. If you have bonuses to hacking, don't include them, and it's just 3 purple.
Okay. Hey.
Okay, this is really good. So,
Sweet!
The triumph is really good.
Yay!
So the success is, while you are standing in this shop, all of your devices, including this data pad, are being monitored.
Okay.
The triumph is that he is monitoring it, and the moment you start hacking it, he's gonna know.
Okay.
And this is to protect his hardware primarily, right? Because like a lot of these devices in here actually do have memory banks installed for specific things, and if they were to be hacked, it would compromise the safety of his clients and the integrity of his business.
Okay.
So there is a computer system in this store monitoring all devices. So if you want, you can try and set up a way to shield this device from it. But like, this is a dangerous situation. If this
the triumph
fails,
is me knowing that that's a system that's in place.
yes, and that it is him. That it is designed to protect all of the devices in this store. And
can I beep something to Xanya?
Yes, please do.
If you communicate this information to me, if I come in the store, can I potentially cause a large interference on this system enough for you to do what you want?
Oh.
How would you do that?
I don't know. That's like working plans, you know?
Kick the router over and rip wireless.
But
I think with
Xanya's
Xanya's help, that's potentially something that could happen. I don't think that you have the programming to make that happen.
I probably don't have the programming.
Yeah, but I think that maybe Xanya could potentially work with you to make that happen. That's
Is this
actually a really good idea. I like it.
Is this the kind of thing where if like things were to go dark maybe for a little bit, or like power was supposed to be...
Oh, the power went out. Oh yeah, if the power went out, you're pretty sure.
Okay. So over my...
You can handle that from outside.
Yeah.
And I can go shut down some stuff.
So over my comm to R3, I'm just like, R3, I need you to wreck something really quick.
All right.
That's like music to his ears. He's like,
yeah, I send back. I send back the binary for ASCII for a thumbs up.
Awesome. Well, I understand binary, so there you go. Okay. So
what is the actual description for that talent?
Speaks binary.
Yeah. What's it actually do though?
It basically means that I can talk to droids that may not be able to speak common.
Doesn't it give you bonuses?
Does it?
With droids? I'm pretty sure it does.
It gives me a boost die to any check. When directing droids, it grants 1 boost die.
I think you're directing a droid.
Oh crap! I am. Oh man. Thanks, GM, for knowing my character.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. So whenever R3 wrecks things, he gets another boost die.
I mean, assuming you have the ability to like give him, like you're basically working with him to do this.
Right.
Yeah, and you're not there to actually help him do it, but because binary, like you're able to like help direct
Right.
him a lot better.
Okay.
So yeah, what are you just looking for a power line, or what's your idea here, Stark? What is R323 gonna do?
Yeah, I'm just like going around the building looking for where the power comes in.
And what are you gonna do? Just shoot it?
I'm looking first, and I'll see what I find and go from there.
Can we both look for it? Are you going to let me know, or
Yeah,
you
you
just
go
allow
around
me
the
to?
other. Well,
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
she sent it to me, so I don't know. You don't get a
Oh,
boost.
are you going to tell it to me? Yeah, she likes
I'll
you
do
better.
I'll
Blah
do
blah
it
blah.
once end of the thing. I'll just say like my wheels are getting a bit stiff, and I'm gonna go around the building and see what I find.
Okay. There we go. Going for a walk.
So you're going on your own. You're not telling me.
Yeah, I'm just stretching my legs.
Okay. My other brass knuckles, I guess, need to be polished too. So enjoy your walk or roll or whatever you droids do.
Your roll. Your
Okay.
roll strong.
So you roll around the side. You see a very obvious, like, what appears to be one of the main power hookups for this building. So you think shooting it would be bad for the power systems? So that's an option. I don't know. It takes you roll around the building. It takes you like about 30 seconds to find it.
All right. Would I have like some kind of circular saw, and I can cut it through?
I mean,
Because shooting it would be very loud.
Do you have any mechanics? Could you just roll a mechanics check to?
no, he's an Astromech droid with no mechanics.
Look, don't ask questions.
Well, you at least have it in, right? Like, don't you at least? Have
Yeah, I have like in.
Three green or something.
How much int do you have?
2.
2?
Yeah.
I guess
said
if you want to say that you have a knife, and because you're a droid, it's like a circular saw knife. That's fine with me.
All right.
That's fine with me. So you just cut
I'll
it.
whip one of those out. Yeah.
Yeah, you cut it. So meanwhile, front of the building.
I'm polishing some knuckles.
You're polishing your brass knuckles, and you look up as you hear footsteps approach, and there's 6 people wearing like black plastoid armor, like hard armor, basically, like kind of think like the kind that like a stormtrooper would wear, but it's not actually stormtrooper armor. It's just like a similar material, and it's like black with red accents on it, and they basically push past you and go into the store.
Oh boy.
Do they look like they are ready for some trouble? Like they've been alerted? Okay. I'm gonna run after our 323 and be like, I think they need us in the store now.
Okay.
Well, I just put the power off, so
Yeah,
I'm ready
well,
to rumble if rumble is needing to
you
be.
can see in the dark, right?
So I guess we have to take a break anyways. So from the
Oh boy.
from the perspective of those in the store, you're talking with this guy. You're pointing out the arm, like how good this craftsmanship is. Xanya's like, I'm gonna hack it. Oh wait, no, I'm not. Oh no. And then 6 figures stride in through the front door and immediately sort of just take up a position to prevent you from leaving, and then the power goes out.
Okay. All right.
So I guess that's where we'll leave it there, and we're gonna just quickly take a break, I guess, like a 5-minute break.
Oh boy.
Yep,
And,
5 minutes, and we'll be right back to, I think, is what's going to be a fight in the dark.
Oh no.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.